All right, our last segment of the show tonight. If you are on social media, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, or X, you've probably seen this case being talked about, the case of LAKEN Snelling out of Kentucky. She's 21 years old. She was a University of Kentucky cheerleader on the stunt team, and awful what is unfolding out there. On August 31st, she was taken into custody after her baby was found dead, wrapped in a towel in a trash bag in her closet. They found the baby on August 27th. She told police at the time that she did give birth. It was her baby. And she was then arrested 4 days later, charged with tampering with physical evidence, concealing the birth of an infant, and abuse of a corpse. She is out on bond, an $100,000 bond, and is on house arrest living with her parents now. She's dropped out of University of Kentucky. Her ex-boyfriend has given DNA to authorities. At this point, we don't know who the father is of this baby. She had an ex-boyfriend and a current boyfriend up until now, and we don't know whose baby this was. Now, this case has so many different implications in it. For one thing, the baby boy's autopsy came back inconclusive. What does that mean? It means off the bat, they weren't able to tell the cause of death, the manner of death. And that is an interesting and important point, because if it was something like suffocation or something like blunt force trauma, that likely would have come out in the autopsy. So they need to do more testing to follow up on that. The other issue here is they don't know how long the baby was dead. And that becomes a really important part of this case, because you're talking about, was CPR administered? Did somebody try to administer CPR? And that's something they're going to have to look back at too. They don't know how long the baby was alive, or if this was a stillborn baby. And that will also change things as well. This is being talked about a lot in Kentucky as this continues, because people are seeing videos and pictures online of LAKEN Snelling where she appears to be pregnant, but there's no conclusive evidence yet that says she knew she was pregnant. And that's what has people really up in arms on social media. How did she not know she was pregnant? If you can see this in these pictures, she gives birth, you know, there had to be a better option in a better way. So the Madison County coroner weighed in on what is happening in this investigation now. And this is now going into further forensic testing with the baby. This is what he had to say about what's happening behind the scenes.
There are things they can't see with the naked eye. The coroner can't see, can only see externally. So we have to do these tests. We have to before an opinion is made.
And something that he also was talking about too was they're going to have to test for other conditions, health conditions. What was it, something where a baby was born and like a stillbirth and something went wrong? Was there something else that would have complicated a possible death after birth? And it is really complicated when you're talking about an infant, and tragic, who possibly was only alive for a very, very, very short amount of time. But I think people are so upset in this case because this is a popular girl who was 21 years old, and while that's young, it's not a teen, it's not a child. They think she should have known better, and if she didn't want the baby, there are options. And that is something that this case has highlighted. It really brings forth the options that people have in this case and in general. There is a safe haven law. You can drop a baby off and leave them at a fire station with fire personnel, or at a hospital with medical personnel, and not be prosecuted for any sort of crime in that case. That law exists so that something like this doesn't happen, so that a baby, a child has the possibility of living a great life and being able to survive. And so I think people are so upset on social media about this because there were other options. And even if it was something that she was either embarrassed about or didn't want to be a part of, I also heard officials in Kentucky talking about that she could have gone to a different county to get resources as well if she was looking for anonymity. So you could see her mugshot there. She is going through the court system. It does move rather slowly. She was arrested on August 31st, and as of now, she's not due back in court for her preliminary hearing. until September 26th. So it's about a month of time difference there, which is actually a rather large amount of time. Typically, we would see somebody in court sooner, at least here in Arizona. Not sure if that's different in Kentucky, but that preliminary hearing may tell us more. She has pleaded not guilty to all of these charges, but I think until we get those results back, further forensic testing on the baby boy, to learn more about what he possibly did die from, that's farther than what can be seen in an autopsy, it's unlikely that we will learn any more information. So it's something we're going to stay on top of. I know people are still talking about it online. We wanted to address it too. There's a case that's honestly a bit similar here in terms of a baby that was left behind and dead as well, something that we've been following in Phoenix. And so I think this kind of resonates with other people here who have been following those cases as